Thank you for joining us. I am Frank Omalape. And now, foreign exchange inflows into Nigeria's economy fell year on year by 40% to $26.32 billion in the first 11 months of 2022 from $44.01 billion the corresponding period of 2021. Data from the Central Bank of Nigeria's monthly economic report showed that aggregate foreign exchange inflow into the economy was $63.57 billion, representing a 26% decline when compared with $86.34 billion in the first 11 months of 2021. The data also showed that foreign exchange outflow year-on-year fell by 2% to $37.2 billion in the first 11 months of last year from $37.96 billion in the first 11 months of 2021. In the report, the CPN noted that on a monthly basis, net inflows through it rose by 16% to $2.02 billion in November last year from $1.74 billion in October 2022. And away from there now, the Shell Petroleum Development Company of Nigeria Limited has expressed delight at the planned construction of the Oloibiri Museum and Research Center in Otuabagi, Ogbia Local Government Council of Bayelsa State. The Oloibiri Museum and Research Center is being built by the Petroleum Technology Development Fund, the Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board, Shell Petroleum Development Company of Nigeria, and the Bayelsa State Government. Speaking on the development, the Managing Director of SPDC, Osanki Okumbo, described the project as historic and expressed optimism that the center, when completed, will foster research and development of technologies for the country's energy industry. Okumbo recalled that Oloibiri was the first place where crude oil was discovered in commercial quantity, which launched Nigeria into the Committee of Oil-Producing Countries. He urged the people of Oloibiri to own, protect, and take pride in the historical and future relevance of the facility, while also taking advantage of the many opportunities it will offer. According to him, when concluded, the museum and research center will be a one-stop shop in the heart of the Niger Delta for the development of technologies for the energy industry. On his part, the Executive Secretary of NCDBM or NCDMB, Simbi Wabochi, said the center will correct a historical oversight that lasted for several decades, during which the people of Bayelsa State complained that they had nothing to show for being the birthplace of oil and gas production in Nigeria. In the meantime, the federal government, under the Advertising Regulatory Council of Nigeria, has warned players in the digital media space that further contravention of the newly promulgated ACON Act will attract severe sanctions ranging from various fines to 1 year imprisonment of relevant officials. ACON Director General Olalekan Fadolapo stated this on Tuesday during an interactive session with digital agencies, bloggers, and content creators. Fadolapo said ACON, which is backed by the Ministry of Information and Culture and the National Assembly, will begin rolling out sanctions to airing advertising practitioners effective March 2022. According to him, sanctions will cut across primary digital space owners, big techs, including Meta, Google, Twitter, among others, down to secondary digital space owners, which comprise content creators, skit makers, and influencers responsible for marketing communication on the platforms. Father Lakpo reiterated that ACON does not seek to regulate social media and clamp down on free speech, but to ensure that promotional content communicated via the digital media conforms to standards as prescribed by the ACON law. The council's lawyer, Charles Odenibo, while explaining the implications of the provision of the ACON Act, noted that all advertising messages on digital media must conform to the four cardinal points of the legality, decency, truthfulness, and honesty. And now the International Monetary Fund has disclosed that only 24% of loans disbursed under the Anchor Borrowers Program of the Central Bank of Nigeria have been repaid. This disclosure was contained in the IMF's Selected Issues Paper of Nigeria, which was prepared by a staff team of the fund as background documentation for the periodic consultation with the country. It was noted that the document was based on the information available as of the time it was completed on January 12, 2023. According to the IMF, agricultural credit in the country has not significantly boosted production, even though there is the challenge of targeting the right recipient for the credit. The IMF noted that although the CBN allows farmers to pay in kind or cash under the Anchor Borrowers Program, repayments have been very low. It was also noted that the Anchor Borrowers Program, established in 2016, initially set aside 40 billion naira to support farmers by offering single-digit interest rate loans. However, over 1 trillion naira has been disbursed through mid-2022 from this program, which CBN providing a rising share of banking system agricultural financing. The All Farmers Association of Nigeria in December 2022 said most beneficiaries of the billions of naira released by the CBN under its Anchor Borrowers Program were not Nigerian farmers. And our bank's credit to the private sector rose from 35.18 trillion naira recorded at the end of January 2022 to 42.25 trillion naira in the corresponding period of 2022. Figures obtained from the Central Bank of Nigeria have shown. The CBN's morning credit statistics indicated this amount to a rise of 7.07 trillion naira in the 1 year period. The figures also show that total credit rose to 30.41 trillion naira as of the end of January 2021 from 26.65 trillion naira at the end of January 2022. While delivering the Monetary Policy Committee report in January, the CBN Governor, Godwin Emefiele, said the committee reviewed the performance of the bank's various interventions aimed at stimulating production and productivity across the real sector. He said the cumulative disbursement under the real sector facility currently stood at 2.15 trillion naira, disbursed to 437 projects across the country, comprising 240 in manufacturing, 91 in agriculture, 93 in services, and 13 in mining sector projects. Under the 100-400 policy on production and productivity, he said the bank had disbursed 20.78 billion naira to 9 projects in healthcare, manufacturing, and services. And now, cross-border securities transactions across African capital markets on Tuesday received a significant boost as Nigerian Exchange Limited and Pan-African Payment Settlement System signed a memorandum of understanding to integrate the payment system into the capital market. The MOU signed in a virtual ceremony saw attendance from notable individuals, including the President, Afrexim Bank, Benedict Urama, and Director General Securities and Exchange Commission, Lamido Yugoda, and Chairman Nigerian Exchange, Mr. Abubakar Mahmoud. Chief Executive Officer Nigerian Exchange, Temi Popola, said integrating PAPSS into the cross-border capital market framework will fix issues with currency convertibility, reduce costs, shorten processing and settlement times, and foster access to capital. Mahmoud said investors will enjoy a more efficient and cost-effective way of investing in African securities, thus promoting regional integration and boosting trade flows. Chief Executive Officer PAPSS Mike Ogbalo said the signing of the MOU with a strategic partner like Nigerian Exchange should lead to more transactions flow into the company's system. He said the company also expects more central banks to join the PAPS infrastructure to extend the reach to millions more, with the resultant positive impact on intra-African trade. Orama explained that PAPSS came about as a region or recognition of the need to integrate payments for goods and services in Africa amid the implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Agreement. Chairman Nigerian Exchange Group Umaru Kwaranga, said the agreement will open up new market opportunities to capital market operators across the continent.